Hey everyone, I'm back, and today we're going to be talking about Hard Eyes. And this movie came out in 2025, and it's currently on Netflix. And this movie is directed by Josh Rubin, who I've never seen anything from. And also, I'm not really familiar with any of these actors off the top of my head. And overall, I did like this movie. It is a slasher film taking place on Valentine's Day, where the killer just kills people who are in love, which is kind of a fun idea. With the exception of the kills, was kind of leading me to believe that this is kind of a bad movie with bad music, over the top sound effects, and I was really worried that I was just in for schlock. But luckily, it's just a horror element that didn't really work for me in this movie, and this is a, I guess, horror film that's trying to be a few different things at once. It does have a level of self-awareness to it, which I did like. I did find it to be kind of funny at points. There were likable characters in this movie. And also the romance I did like in this movie. So 2 out of 3 major things in this movie worked for me. As far as the horror goes, the best thing about the horror in terms of what it has to offer are just the kills. And they're kind of fun. But aside from that, not really much else to note. I guess the only extension you can say about the kills is that they were kind of violent, but that's about it. And I did like the main character. I enjoyed her journey in this movie, and she has a nice little character arc in the film that I also really enjoyed without spoiling anything. And the movie got better as it went along. That's another thing I'll say about it, is that things got better as it went along, and this movie did kind of remind me of Scream, with it being a few different things at once, and also a couple other things that I'm not going to get into because I don't want to spoil anything, but I do feel as though this movie was kind of inspired by Scream, although I do feel as though this movie was kind of inspired by Scream in a way, but I'll have to look up some interviews to really get the exact quotes as to whether or not that was like an actual thing or not. But in terms of issues that I had with this movie, I really did not like the music in this movie. I just found it to be bland and forgettable, and also the licensed music, it just felt like they were just plopped onto the movie and just tried to make it work in the film, and I didn't care for it. And sound effects in this movie were kind of over the top when it was the killer on screen, and he just walks around, and it's really loud when he walks. You really do hear him walking around with boots. They really emphasize on that. And also when blades come out, it's very noticeably loud, and it was just kind of a weird choice overall for me. The jump scares in this movie were annoying. I didn't care for them very much, and overall, the worst stuff in this movie is just when it tries to be scary. It just completely failed for me. But if you're not looking for a horror movie and you're just looking for other stuff, I do still feel as though this movie works, just because I don't really care for the horror. Like, that's what's dragging it down. But the rest of the movie is propping it up somehow. So it's also nice and short, just over an hour and a half, and there's kind of a mid-credit scene. That's something you should be aware of. I also found it to be a little annoying that A, the cops were pretty useless in this movie, and B, the killer gets away with certain things because everyone's backs were turned. That was kind of annoying. And that's about all I have to say about Hard Eyes. It was a good movie. It was well acted, and in terms of how the movie's shot, there wasn't really much of a distinct style in this movie that I was able to pick up on. Maybe if I'm more familiar with the director, I'll be able to pick up on that, but in this movie, there wasn't really much to distinguish this movie from other average movies out there. But I would recommend that you check this movie out. I do think it's good, it's thoroughly enjoyable, it doesn't really waste your time all that much, and if you're looking for a fun movie to watch, then I would recommend that you check this movie out. Just probably not for the reasons that you might be expecting me to recommend it for. Not the horror, but everything else that is in the movie, like the romance and the comedy, are infinitely better to me than the horror elements of the movie. So, If all that sounds interesting to you, then check it out. And with all that being said, I'm going to give Hard Eyes a 6 out of 10. Thank you for watching my videos as always. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to leave a like and comment down below you thought of Hard Eyes, and my social media links, they will all be in the description, so follow me there. And last but not least, subscribe to be a part of Foley Nation, and I'll see you when I get my next review up, and that is going to be for Bram Stoker's Dracula from 1992, directed by Francis Ford Coppola, so look forward to that, but until I get that up, thank you for watching and have a great day.